here's one thing I can tell you what I've learned about compliance, and then we'll kick this off. No matter where you are doing business, you are impacted by compliance in every single country, place. Texas just brought in their privacy laws, Quebec's got one, yada, yada, yada. And there's a gentleman with an actual heat map of all compliance in the world. And I remember, just last year, November, it didn't look all red. And I saw it recently, it's like red, it's like blood, literally. So compliance may equal blood. The reality is that you can't get away from this. Laws, regulations, got teeth, getting more, et cetera, et cetera. And tell me first of all, say about your journey. How did you get here, my friend?
It's good, thanks. So my journey with the MSP space go way back in the days of Enable Technologies. I was the director of R&D, working with Mark and a few guys in the room. That's before that acquisition. Then after that, I went into the corporate world. I was CIO for a data sync company, focusing on data integrity and all those things. But I like to say I saw both sides of the equation. I was building software for MSP, then became a consumer based software. So I understand both sides of that one.
So compliance is about a whole whack of things that you've got to do. And if you don't do it, they used to tap your hand, but now they actually send you a bill. It's getting serious now, right? Tell us a bit about what's your definition of compliance and why this matters to every MSP.
So I'll go into compliance as a service. So before you get to compliance, you have to go on a journey. So simply put, everything an organization needs to do to achieve compliance is compliance as a service. You recognize some of those things like patch management, vulnerability management, DR, BCP, those kind of stuff. So that's the journey you're on, and it also includes collecting evidence to show proof that you have compliance. So when I say CaaS, I mean compliance for service, the journey towards compliance.
So I've done a bunch of interviews with sites in the team. And so if you want to see their journey, where they come from, why they do this, how they do it, etc., even a full demo, I'm not going to worry with that. Go online and you can watch that at your pleasure. The one thing we want to figure out, why I think this is important, is how do we help MSPs to get in the compliance of the service game? So how do you and your solution help them to get into this game?
So what we've done, we've taken 5 modules. We took some frameworks and we digitized that process. We focused on 2 approaches. We take a top-down approach to compliance or a bottom-up. So let's say, for example, you are on a compliance journey, you approach an auditor, and you're on that journey. You may not have anything in your stack to be able to do that. So what we've done, we've taken you that step by step in 5 modules. On the flip side, going up with a bottom-up approach, we start with an evidence request list from your auditor. Generally, an auditor will give you a list of things they ask you for, and you have to fulfill that list. So you can do it from both angles. Now, throughout the course of the year, we have what we call automated evidence collection, or a mock audit. So it keeps you compliant all the way throughout the year, up until the day of the audit. So it's not just audit once a year, or compliance once a year, it's compliance every year.
It's constant compliance.
It is.
And one of the things your tool does, that I saw, it starts to show you when you're kind of getting out of compliance, so it gives you a notification. I'm simplifying it, but is that how it works?
Oh, yeah, so exactly what it does really is, because we're talking about compliance as a service, you have to make this easy. You are not going to be sitting there looking at compliance. You have other things to do. You need a platform that can tell you when things are coming due, when things are falling off the radar. So we look at some of the functions you have to perform, and we would notify you via the product that you have to do that. We take it one step further, and we collate data from within your platform across your SaaS application, and makes it very easy for you to be able to do that. So compliance becomes a breeze.
Let's talk about the money part of this. I mean, talk about the teeth part. So here's the 2 things. The demand is there because the end customer has got to be compliant, right? And there's going to be rules. Insurance is going to force you to be compliant. Government's going to force you to be compliant. There's that Quebec Law 25, and it's got a lot of teeth. As you know, Quebec is a little bit different from the rest of Canada. And we don't say anything else, but the reality is that these laws are going to be happening everywhere. So get ahead of it. And actually, it's a great conversation opener between you and your customers. So if you can go to a customer and say, hey, how are you dealing with the compliance issues that's right now? How are you regulating yourself? You know, what's going on? Now so that's the, you know, the demand part. You got to do it at some point, right? Let's talk about the money part. How do they make money from this?
So let me back it up for a second. So typically, compliance is tough, and proving security is even more difficult. So what happens when an organization's on that journey to compliance? They don't know where to start, what to do. They're lost in that landscape. They try using various tools and they get left behind. So what you as an MSP can do, you can go in there and you can make this easy for them. You can walk them through the step of compliance. You can start the mock audit, you can start an assessment. Then you can do this land and expand thing where you can do a gap analysis of where they are and where they have to go. And then you can start selling more tools, or you can start selling remediation services. So what we see is the opportunity for you to do an upsell on your services. You can do remediation services, or you can sell more tools, and at the same time, you're still selling the platform. You still perform some of those mundane duties for them on a day-to-day basis, right?
So if you heard it, so if you make money in the compliance of the service thing, because you're doing an audit in a way, a mock audit, if you will,
Right.
and then you monitor them through us, you're collecting a monthly fee. But I think the really cool part of this is to identify those gaps, right? And as you know, gaps can actually go back to the client and say, hey, based on the compliance, you know, monitoring, you're missing here, you're missing there, and this is what it's going to take for you to fill that gap. How much the product is, and the money, and a lot of end customers will listen to that as a reason for purchasing the solution because they need to be compliant. And you don't want to say, if you don't do this, then you're not compliant, obviously, right? So that's a really great opportunity. What are some of the outcomes that you're seeing when MSPs are starting to use this platform?
Well, first and foremost, before an MSP can use this platform, they need to demonstrate their security as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a demand from the customers on security. We know that because there's so many breaches happening on there, regulators and insurers are getting tougher on organizations. Organizations themselves are getting tougher on each other. So you as an MSP have an obligation to align yourself to some framework. The penalty for that, if you're not aligned, you can lose business. You can go into a deal and just at the last minute, do diligence checks. I would say, hey, you're not aligned to this, you're not aligned to sub 2, or you may not have a HIPAA compliance, and you may lose that deal. So I think the consequences of not being compliant is you're losing trust, you're losing business. On the flip side of that, if, for example, you were suffer a breach, when you did an insurance declaration, you made certain declaration that you're going to take due diligence to protect the organization from a breach. If you do get a breach and you file an insurance claim, you need to show proof, you should have diligence proof. If you can't do that, you'll be denied claim. So there are consequences, there are dire business consequences. You can be hacked, you can go to business. So those are just the few things that can go wrong.
Yeah, and the point there, I mean, you know, we all get insurance, right? But what happens, you know, if you go in and you get insurance and then there's something that you didn't disclose to the insurance company, it's great to have insurance, but you're just not going to get paid, right? And I guarantee you, when there's a breach on anything about security or compliance, it's not going to be nice. The end customer is going to bring in their lawyers, and they're going to want you to prove that you were compliant. Right, and if you can't, so you can pull reports, you can show that you were compliant. Tell us about how you prove it.
So during the course of the year, we have this capability called automated evidence collection. We will be collecting evidence as proof that we have these controls in place. Now, not everything is automated, of course, so there might be some manual activity there. But what this platform does, it creates that evidence request list in an automated fashion, so you can start putting your evidence in there. So over the course of the year, leading towards an audit, when the time comes for an audit, it reduces the time of the audit, it reduces the cost of the audit, because the auditor has spent too much time with you. Because you're showing the proof within the system that you have it, it's timestamped, it's authorized, and you can track it back to the source. So that is what's going to save time, and that's what's going to reduce your cost time.
So this is someone out there who says, but, so can't I just do this manually?
Yeah, that's my point. I mean, many organizations try doing this themselves and they're failing. They're actually abandoning their software programs and they're calling in help. They're calling in the service providers to do that for them. So it's not something you can take lightly. I'll give you an example. If you're doing SOC 2, the average number of pieces of evidence or requests that an audit can ask for can range from 100 to 180, right? So imagine trying to run across your system, pulling these evidence to be able to do that, and then you have to involve so many employees. So people spend hundreds of dollars on that stuff, right? So if you're proactively doing it, compliance every day, then when you get to the finish line, you have that evidence to provide, and you're not losing that time. The issue with it is because you leave it to the end, it creates friction in the program, right? And it creates burnout. So that's what's making these programs fail.
Plus, it's not nice work. I mean,
But it's necessary work.
it's necessary work.
Yeah.
I downplay it because I would never do that compliance stuff, but it's like, it's amazing. You need it, it's a necessary evil. You know, the other part I love to get at is, as an MSP, I don't want people to show up their hands by saying if you've done a compliance audit for yourself yet, because, you know, we're not gonna take you or anything like that, but is there anyone here who has actually, as an MSP, gone through a full compliance audit? Anybody at all?
Or starting one.
One? Just one. So therein lies the rub, the problem. I'll tell you, if I was an MSP, right, I would not just, maybe I'll do it quietly, you know, from my house or something, just to see if, what's going on. But I think that's what I would do, because I would just want to know how bad it is for me. I'd quietly, you know, up my game until I get up to a certain point. And I would imagine that if I was eventually able to be compliant, man, I'd want a very big plaque done in my office that says, whatever, I'm compliant, and because I think that's a selling feature, right? Because if customers want to work with companies that is understand compliance, and I believe you're going to be able to get security business, you're going to get compliance business, and they're kind of connected. I'll leave you the last one, my friend. What do you want to reach out?
Oh, my marketing message is this, you know, whatever you're doing, whether it's a product or a service, you have to innovate, you have to be competitive. And if you could recall back in the early days of MSP, your only competitors was an IT team or another IT. Now, if you look at auditors, if you go to the website of auditors and insurance brokers, they're offering the same services you are offering. So you have to stand out. I believe that CaaS offers this opportunity of uniqueness for you. You can stand out with offering CaaS services and you can make some money at the same time. But the kicker here is don't try to do it the way customers are doing it. You need a platform that can digitize some of the process for you, or even automate some of the activities within it for you. And you need a platform that can integrate with your technology stack, as well as the technology stack of your customers. If not, you're going to be burning resources, and it's not going to work for you. So if you want to see that platform, you can stop by our booth. There's still time, and we'll show you how it works.
Right on. And one last thing, I think you're offering a deal for
Yes.
SOC 2 with compliance.
Good point. If anybody's interested, we're come by and see if you qualify for a free SOC 2 audit. One of the components of an audit of the entire program is you doing the legwork, and the final journey, they call the last mile, is the audit process. That audit process can range between $10,000 to $20,000. Not to mention the money you're doing. Because we form partnership with partners, we're able to do a better deal for you, so you get an all-in-one solution for that price. So we'll cover the cost of an audit if you qualify. Of course, there's some terms and conditions to that deal, but talk to us out, we'll tell you more.
So I'm very happy that Jason has joined us because this compliance issue is a darn thorn in all of our sites, and we got to get it done. But I really encourage everybody to go there, check it out, kick the tires, do your own audit, see how you do, and then think about how you could leverage this moving forward. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.